Om Namah Shivaya. Episode 70, Chapter 12, verses 13 to 20. Qualities of being wise. Jnanis. To become wise, there are specific requirements. First, as karma yogis, we must do all our righteous duties out of devotion, bhakti, and offering to the law of dharma, and be able to accept whatever the result given by the law of karma as a gift from Ishvara to purify and steady our minds. Now we are ready to meditate upon Sa-Guna Brahma, the Visvarupa, as Ishvara's glories. And if we can remain undisturbed by the continuous dissolution going on at the Prakriti level, we have further steadied our minds. Second, this purified and steady mind qualifies us for the knowledge of Brahman. And when we contemplate upon Nirguna Brahma as ourselves, and when this knowledge is converted to wisdom, we become wise. We have become free from the limitation of our body-mind senses. This is moksha. We have achieved the purpose of human birth. From verses 13 to 19, Sri Krishna lists the many qualities of the wise and encourages us, the seekers, that we too can enjoy these qualities and gain moksha. And its first requirement is devotion, bhakti, to Ishvara's law of dharma. Verse 13, Sri Krishna says, first, the wise have no hatred towards all being, advesta sarvabhutana. This is natural to them because they see the one Atma in all being. Psychologically speaking, we hate those who cheat us. But the wise do not internalize the behavior of others, as it is easier to change themselves than to change others. Second, and indeed, they have the natural disposition of a friend and are compassionate. Maitra Karuna Evacha. The glories of Atma are the natural expression of the wise, as they are not limited by their body-mind senses. Third, they are free from all possessions and are not egoistic. Nirmama Nirahankara. They look upon the few things they have as Ishvaras. They are just a trustee. They do not suffer from the inflated egoic sense that everything they have belongs to them permanently. They know that everything is given by the law of karma to be used to work towards moksha. And if it is misused or when their physical body dies, it goes back to Ishvara. Fourth, they remain the same in both pleasant and unpleasant circumstances. Sama, sukha, dukkha. They know that in every pleasant circumstances, there is a certain degree of unpleasantness. And in every unpleasant circumstances, there is a certain degree of pleasantness. Having this wisdom, they remain the same in all circumstances. Fifth, they have shama, forbearance, forgiveness. They can retain their composure in all hostile situations, as they know they have nothing to forgive, as the whole world has forgiven them by allowing them to live as they want and work towards moksha. In verse 14, Sri Krishna describes how the wise converted the knowledge of Brahman into wisdom. First, they surrendered both their intellect and mind to Ishvara, the law of Dharma. Mayi arpita mano buddhi. The mind and the intellect have different functions. The nature of the mind is to facilitate between one thing and its opposite, whereas the intellect is to discriminate between the truth and the untruth. And having surrendered both their mind and intellect to gain the knowledge of Brahman, and when it got converted to wisdom, all their doubts were resolved. Second, for this reason, their knowledge of the nature of Atma is firm and clear, Dridha Nishchaya. They know that Nirguna Brahma is the only truth, which is their true self, the Atma. It is the pure consciousness that is pervading the entire creation. And due to Atma's presence within, their body, mind, senses are functioning and constantly changing. Only human beings are given the freedom to purify their mind and work towards moksha. Third, for this reason, they are completely satisfied and always united with Ishvara. Santushta Satatam Yogi. Their tranquility is constant as they have mastery over their mind, Yat Atma. Sri Krishna says, such a wise man is my devotee, is beloved to me, Ye Mat Bhakta, Sa Me Priya. Beloved to Ishvara means the Jnani recognizes his oneness with Ishvara. In verse 15, Sri Krishna continues to describe the wise as his beloved, Sa Cha Me Priyaha. First, because people do not get disturbed by the wise. Yasmat na udvijyate loka. And the wise do not get disturbed by the people. Lokat na udvijyate cha ya. We can only be disturbed by people to the extent that we allow them to disturb us. And people can be disturbed by us when we depend upon them for our sense of well-being. The wise, having released themselves from this sense of imperfection, as they have the wisdom to know that they are not this body, mind, senses, but Satchit Ananda Atma, absolute bliss. Second, thereby they are free from elation, intolerance, fear, and anxiety. Harsha Amarsha Bhaya Udvegir Mukta Ya. Harsha Mukta Ya means free from elation. There is no extreme emotional joy upon achieving something because there is no egoistic sense of achievement. They know that without Atma, nothing is achievable. Amarsha Muktaya means free from intolerance, and its root cause is jealousy and fault finding. Normally, when someone does well and are happy, we are jealous. But the wise do not have such negative feelings because they know that everyone's glories are Ishvara's infinite glories. So without any negative feeling towards people, the wise continue discovering their own infinite glories. Vaya udvegir muktaya means free from fear and anxiety. The wise, having gained moksha, they are in oneness with Ishvara, beyond duality. They can relax and let go. And they continue doing their prarabdha karma and are able to accept the results without fear or anxiety. In verse 16, Sri Krishna lists further qualities of the wise. First, they have no dependence, anapeksha, for their sense of well-being upon their physical body and the sense organs. They know that Atma is self-existence, not dependent on the physical body. They are not deluded to know that they are only alive when their physical body is alive. Second, they have inner and outer cleanliness, suchi. Outer cleanliness begins with our physical body, our clothes, our environment in general. Inner cleanliness can be achieved by various means. One of them is the practice of pratipaksha bhavana, where we deliberately bring the opposite to our negative feeling like anger, jealousy, greed to neutralize them. However, the wise are endowed with both inner and outer cleanliness. Third, they are capable of quickly assessing any situation and bring about a solution, draksha. They are capable of giving dispassionate consideration to any situation. Fourth, they are neutral, udasina. They do not take side between a friend, enemy, or any subject matter like politics, social, health, etc. They know that these are all subjective matters depending upon what interests us. As a student of Vedanta, the study of the Gita is most important. They want to know what is Atma, who is Brahman, who is Ishvara. Thereby, they kept their minds neutral to enjoy objectivity and discover their true self. Fifth, they have no fear or affliction of any sort, gata vyata. Fear arises due to duality, seeing ourselves separate from Ishvara. But the wise are free from all sort of fear, including the fear of death. They know that for Atma there is no birth or death, whereas for their physical body, death is certain when it is born and birth is certain when it dies. Sixth, they have completely given up all initiation of action, sarva arambha parityagi, meaning all their actions are not motivated by a desire. They still continue doing their prarabdha karma as an offering to the law of dharma. And Sri Krishna says, he is my devotee. He is beloved to me. Yamat bhakta sa me priyaha. In verse 17, Sri Krishna continues to describe the wise. First, they do not get elated, na hritsyati, when their desires are fulfilled. The wise have only their prarabdha karma to complete. And it is threefold. First, are desires which they initiated before they became wise. And second, are action that others request them to do, like teach or to write. and when it is achieved, they are not elated. The third prarabdha is more often not pleasant, like diseases, but it happens. And when it happens, they are not hostile towards it, na dvesti, but they take the necessary action to heal themselves. Second, the wise do not grieve, na sochati. They recognize that losses is a part of creation. So after such a loss, they do not grieve. They may have sympathy but not grief. But we must understand the Gita does not tell us we should not grieve. If there is grief, it should be processed and resolved. Otherwise, it will lead to psychological problem. But the wise do not grieve. Third, the wise do not desire, na kanshati. They have a sense of satisfaction. They do not desire for things that they do not have. And fourth, they have completely given up all auspicious and inauspicious action. Shubha Ashubha Parityagi. Because they have no desire to accumulate further punyas and papas. They just continue doing their prarabdha karma as an offering to the law of dharma. And Sri Krishna says, such a devotee is my beloved. Bhakti manya sa me priyaha. In verse 18, Sri Krishna names a few pairs of opposites towards which the wise remain undisturbed. First, they remain the same towards a friend or an enemy. Sama satraucha mitrecha. A friend desires for our well-being out of affection, and an enemy wants to hurt us. Then the question arises, how can the wise have enemies? The wise do not create enemies. Nevertheless, enemies arises because people have so many reasons for enmity. However, the wise remain the same whether a friend or an enemy approaches. Friends do not make them more secure, or enemies do not cause any disturbances. They remain the same. Second, similarly with reference to honor and disgrace. Tata mana apamanayo. Whether they are an object of worship or disrespect, they remain undisturbed because people have the right to their own views. Third, they remain the same with reference to heat and cold, pleasure and pain. Sita usna sukha dukkeshu sama. It is not that they experience them differently, but their minds remain undisturbed. Fourth, they are free from all sorts of attachment, sangha vivarjita. There are many possible attachments, like attachments to our wealth, pleasure, partner, children, etc. But the wise have no emotional dependence upon people or things. In verse 19, Sri Krishna continues to name some of the natural expression of the wise, who are his beloved. Sa me priya. First, they are equal to censure and praise. Tulya ninda stuti. Whatever praise they get, they know they are more than that. They are Parameshvara. And since they have no sense of want, nothing flatters them. And when they are criticized, they know that everyone has the right to their opinion. Second, Their speech is disciplined, mauni. This is a great qualification of the wise. They do not chatter, because chattering is an expression of restlessness. They have no such pressure. Talking should be fruitful and judicious, neither too much nor too little. Third, they are easily satisfied with whatever they get. Santushta yena kenachit. They do what is necessary to take care of themselves, but they do not manipulate the world for their benefit. As they are already pleased with themselves, they are easily satisfied with whatever they get. Fourth, the Jnanis have no place to call their own, aniketa. It is not that they do not have a roof over their head, but they do not have a sense of ownership. Everything belongs to Ishvara. Fifth, Sri Krishna concludes the natural expression of the wise by telling that their knowledge is firm, stiramati. They have no doubt that Atma is Brahman. Because of their devotion to the law of Dharma, qualified them for the knowledge of Brahman. And when it was converted to wisdom, they became wise, Ishvara's beloved. And Sri Krishna says, Bhaktiman Nara Me Priya. The man who has devotion does not die. He is my beloved. Nara means that which does not die, and Atma is not subject to birth and death. And since the Jnanis have gained this knowledge, they do not die. They are Nara. In verse 20, Sri Krishna concludes. First, however, those who follow this life that is in keeping with Dharma, leading to immortality. Yetu dharmyam amritam idam paryupasate. Dharmyam means that which does not move away from righteousness. And it is amrita, the cause of immortality. Life of Dharma means conducting ourselves in keeping with the description of the wise, as was just told, yatoktam, and contemplating upon Nirguna Brahma as ourselves is the means to moksha. Second, we will be able to conduct this study with great enthusiasm because we are Shraddhadana. We are endowed with the grace of Ishvara, the Sastra, the teacher, and ourselves. Through prayers, we have invoked the grace of Ishvara, Swara Kripa, because of our very trust in the Sastra, Sastra Kripa, that attracted a qualified teacher, Guru Kripa, and our own grace, Atma Kripa. When we have all these four graces, we will have a conducive atmosphere to work towards moksha. Sri Krishna concludes the chapter by making it very clear by saying, and for whom I am the ultimate, Mat Parama. Those devotees are exceedingly beloved to me. Bhakta te ativa me priya. For this, our commitment for gaining the knowledge and wisdom of Brahman must be firm. It must be our immediate and ultimate end, Parama Gati. With this, we conclude chapter 12 on Bhakti Yoga with Om Tat Sat, meaning Brahman alone is the truth. And chapter 13 is entitled Kshetra and Kshetrajna, the nature of the knower and the known. So till then, Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.